What are Cloverfield monsters? Where did they come from? It is enormous, it is scared, and it is strong. Yes, we are talking about the Cloverfield monsters, and it is important that you pay heed to what we're about to say next. This is in relation to the explanation that the third installment in the Cloverfield franchise, Julius Onah's The Cloverfield Paradox, offered while trying to elucidate to the viewers about the origin of the monsters. Those who have seen the 2018 sci-fi horror film will remember that in about 15 minutes into the movie, the crew on board the Cloverfield Space Station watches a particular news interview that had Mark Stambler, a conspiracy theorist urging people to read his latest book, The Cloverfield Paradox, one that outlines the dangers of the Shepard particle accelerator. In case you don't remember what he said exactly, here, let us help you out.
That accelerator is 1,000 times more powerful than any ever built. In the past, in the future, in other dimensions.
Winding the clock back to year 2008, Matt Reeves presented us with a found footage monster flick, popularly known as Cloverfield. He also introduced us to a monster, one that was initially addressed as a Cloverfield monster and in due course given the name Clover. Created by artist Neville Page and J.J. Abrams, the creature has been devoid of a specific species description. Having said that, there is this official government designation which sort of covers the monsters to a certain degree. It is said to come under the category of an LSA, large-scale aggressor to be more precise. Well, in today's video, we will be talking about the origin of the Cloverfield monsters, exploring everything that you need to know about them in detail. You've got to be prepared for this.
Before we go into our explanation, we have a very small request. If you like our content, please support us by subscribing to our channel. This is a small click for you, but for us, it means a lot. Thank you. Let's begin.
Unidentified Daikaiju-Sized creatures, Clover explored. Deduced as a creature that either has underwater or interdimensional origin, Clover is an infant specimen of its species, and in all likelihood, separated from its family. Well, the origin of the creature is only disclosed in the movie's viral marketing campaign because J.J. Abrams strategically wanted his movie to be realistic and not just another monster flick. The part of the plan was to make the audience feel confused when the creature attacks, so that they don't even have the slightest hint of where it came from.
Oh, yeah, we'll see.
Okay, yeah, alright, we're almost out of tape. We got like 3.
What we have here is a quadruped monster that is about 240 to 300 foot high, with a very long triforked fin tail. The topmost double-jointed limb pair is a bit more elongated than the other two and ends in a multi-fingered hand, one that is capable of arching backwards so that the monster can walk on its fingers. We know how it sounds, but you'll know if you see it in the movie. The double-jointed squat legs of this thing are strong enough to back the entire structure of the creature and make it capable of moving pretty fast. You would not be wrong to say that each of its legs are about the size of a city transit bus. No, we're not kidding. They're at least 30 to 40 feet.
Too close, but from what we can see, there's clearly a sizable mobilization of troops and equipment.
Putting further stress on the beast here, it has a face that looks more like a piranha or an anglerfish for that matter. The head boasts sharp, bony features with 2 eyes. On either side of the head, just beyond the eyes, are 2 set of membranous sacs, which expand and retreat back into the head. Next, between the creature's legs are 2 external esophagi that are primarily used to eat small creatures, like humans or other animals. If you've seen the first movie, remember that scene before Hud's character gets killed? It's thanks to him that the audience gets a clear picture of the monster, especially its esophagi that ends with teeth-like projections. The monster is gray in color, with skin that shows very strong resistance to heavy weapons, heat, and also pressure. So you have shells from M1A2 tanks, M109A6 Paladins, AT-4 rockets, FGM-148 Javelin missile launchers, AGM-65 Mavericks, as well as MK-82 bombs, and yet none of these high-powered artilleries had any effects on the beast. The only thing that these managed to do was to scare the creature and make things worse. Parasite that resides on the monster's skin. Okay, so besides Clover, there are also these human-scale parasites, codenamed by the United States Department of Defense that the monster happens to be a host to. We're talking about the secondary monsters, more crab-like creatures to be honest, dropping themselves on the ground from their symbiotic main host. You'll be surprised to know that Clover was apparently covered with more than 2,000 parasites that are more or less as big as a dog. Apparently, these parasites have 10 legs that comprise of 6 spider-like double-jointed limbs and 4 pincers on the top and back. A closer look at these creatures and you will find them having several black eyes, exceedingly large jaws, and the same pale gray skin texture. They're always seen in packs and mostly in favor of closed spaces in order to ambush their prey. From being able to climb up walls, or even cling onto ceilings for that matter, these creatures often move like spiders and are capable of jumping to great distances. All it takes is a single bite from them and you're dead. End of story. It is reported that these parasites have concentrated levels of kaito no mitsu in their blood. Wondering what that is? It is the main ingredient for making Tagurato's slusho beverage. So, the lifespan of the human-scale parasites victims varies roughly between 20 to maximum 40 minutes. These victims start displaying symptoms such as bleeding from their eyes and nose, giddiness, and also puking blood. For those who have seen the first movie will agree with us, post what happened to Lizzie Kaplan's character after she gets bitten by one of them. Addressing to those who have yet to watch the movie, Kaplan's character Marlena initially starts to bleed from her eyes and then her whole body just explodes. Mind you, there's no warning given to us when that happens. Clover was just a scared infant, separated from their mother or father on different dimensions. A scared child lost on a scary planet. That's what this rampaging creature happens to be in reality. Despite specifics about its origin, biology, or even the backstory for that matter, were hardly ever brought up in the movies. The monster was conceived by its creators as a terrified child, one searching for its mother. Well, we at Marvelous Videos will be substantiating our point further with an interesting story here. Back during the promotion for the 2006 American spy movie film, Mission Impossible 3, J.J. Abrams was on a shopping trip with his young son in Tokyo. Abrams was so fascinated by the Japanese kaiju toys there that he made up his mind right then and there that America was in need of its very own humongous, terrifying-looking monster. And not just any monster, but something that would be, in every way, different from Godzilla as well as King Kong. In fact, he wanted his new monster to be the true definition of what nightmares are made up of. Right from being unaffected by artillery shells, missiles, rockets, grenades, to being infested with thousands of parasites, he wanted it to look destructive from every angle. Well, we all know how that turned out to be. For the designing part, producer Abrams, along with director Matt Reeves, reached out to conceptual artist Neville Page, who goes without saying did a fantastic job. Having taken inspiration from the animal kingdom, Page gave Clover the face and teeth of a fish. Not just any, but somewhere between a piranha and an anglerfish. He further gave the monster the grayish fissured skin of an elephant, horse-like eyes, and also made him amphibious. Next, for the monster's mindset and behavior, the trio of Page, Abrams, and Reeves were on the same page. They just didn't want this movie to be another monster on the loose flick, one that goes about rampaging and killing. They wanted to form a biological foundation for the creature, more like something that would produce some sense of sympathy. Therefore, Page ended up designing Clover as a terrified, confused, and lost child desperately looking for his mother. The same psychological approach was blended into the physical design. He made the creature quadrupedal, making it stand at times, just like a young one would do while trying to learn how to walk.
Is it on? Run. Okay, run. Actually, run.
Are there more than one Cloverfield monsters? Theory. Well, according to Abrams, as per his confirmation, the colossal monster that bursts through the clouds and lets out a loud roar at the end of the third movie happens to be the same parasite-riddled, Statue of Liberty decapitating monster from the first flick. Of course, this raises quite a few questions, especially regarding the true origins of the creature. As per the events of the third film, when the crew on board of the Cloverfield Station is finally able to activate the Shepard particle accelerator, a massive power surge takes place within the station, eventually causing a tear across time and space, as well as unleashing a monster from another dimension. But if this creature happens to be the same one from the first film, it would hint at the solitary fact that the events of the first flick had already occurred at a particular time frame way before the space station was even conceived. But having said all that, there are many who are of the opinion that there is more than one Cloverfield monster featured. So basically, there are fans of the film franchise who think the monster featured in the first movie and the one that is seen in the ending scene of the third movie are two different creatures, while some think that the shape of the eyes is different, making them two different creatures in two different movies. There are some that believe that the first movie itself had on display more than one monster. Also, the Japanese comic had many Clover eggs lying at the bottom of the sea, so why not, right? Where did they come from? An inclination towards the Cloverfield ARG campaign points us towards the depths of the ocean, precisely where the monster was in its hibernation mode. If you have seen the first movie, you'll remember how it ends. There's this indiscernible object falling from the sky right into the ocean. Later, there were reports that directed that it was basically a satellite called Chimpanzee 3, owned by the Tagaratu Corporation, that the viewer saw minutes before the first film in the franchise ended. Agreed that the original story also featured factors such as deep-sea drilling and sending numerous submarines to the ocean bed in order to study the beast, which bothered the creature enough to be woken up from its deep slumber. Putting stress on the timeline of the third movie, the Cloverfield Paradox, the monster was released as part of a ripple effect across time and space, all thanks to the crew on board the space station activating the Shepard particle accelerator and in result creating a colossal power surge. Many believe that the particle accelerator is what caused everything to happen across different dimensions in the first place. They think that is the sole reason why the monsters made their appearances, respectively, in the first, second, and third movie. True, the satellite may have disturbed the deep-sea creature that was apparently lying dormant at the bottom of the sea, but the events of the paradox is why the creature was there at the bottom of the sea in the first place. Truly something to think about, right?
And if you liked our content, don't forget to leave a like and subscribe to us if you haven't already. Have a good one and be safe. Thanks everyone.